Seer Folly. Isumian has a task for a skilled adventurer.
Raid, I am glad you have come. I have a task of a most urgent and confidential nature, and I can think of none other to whom I can entrust it. You are doubtless familiar with the Seed Seers, yes? Connie Senna, Elder Seed Seer, leader of the Order of the Twin Adder, and guardian of our fair nation, clearly needs no introduction. But know you also of her siblings? The two young Pagels, Sister Rhea Senna and brother Arun Senna, make for Evershade as we speak, where they will perform a ritual of great import. Verily, such import that it would be no overstatement to say that the very fate of Gridania hangs in the balance. As you well know, we dwell in this forest by the good graces of the elementals, eternal guardians of the Twelswood, and most of all the great one who dwells within the guardian tree. Yet our ceaseless warring and ill treatment of the trees that shelter us have aroused the Great One's ire, and it is only by the quieting, the ritual of which I spoke, that he may be placated. Thus did the two Seed Seers set out for the Evershade, with nary a guard to accompany them. Therein lies the rub, and the nature of the favor I ask of you. By no means would I question the powers of the Seed Seers, but with the Great One's anger mounting, the Twelswood becomes a threatening domain for even the most puissant of conjurers. Pray hasten to the Evershade and see that no harm befalls the two.
Curses! How can we hope to make it to the Guardian Tree with these ghastly creatures bursting forth like rampant weeds? If I'd known what we were in for, I would have brought along a wood whaler or two. In fact, I dare say we should return and do exactly that.
Oh, do not be such a coward, sister. We are Seed Seers. These overgrown vermin are no match for us.
Bold words, brother, but were they true words, we would have dispatched our enemies and arrived safely at our destination bells ago. A conjurer, are you? But Brother Isumi, ever the warrior. For once, however, his solicitude is most welcome. Might you help us dispose of these fell creatures?
Have you no pride, sister? A Seed Seer does not beg the aid of some common adventurer.
Enough, brother. We have a duty to perform, a duty that takes precedence over your silly notions of pride. Now enough talk. Let us see to these pests. The Great One does not approve of our presence here.
I'll thank you to stay out of my way, adventurer.
Bring down as many of the creatures as you can.
Sorry, I have to laugh. Haroon is getting tossed around a little bit. Bye. Whee! I think I'm gonna make Rhea's voice a little lighter to differentiate the two a little bit better.
That crystal! Do my eyes deceive me, or does this adventurer inherit the legacy of Ardawa Kant?
What?
It was none other than Altawa himself who last performed the quieting. No, I do not believe this adventurer's arrival is mere coincidence. Bearer of the Soul Crystal, inheritor of arcane knowledge long since forbidden to those not of our kind. I know not why it is you he chose, but I believe our great forefather has led you to us this day. Ancient tradition dictates that the quieting be performed by 3 paduls. Ah, but I misspeak. The ritual is to be performed by 3 White Mages. If Master Atawa truly has chosen this adventurer as his successor... You speak madness, sister! Surely you have not forgotten that Padul tradition strictly forbids sharing the teachings with those not of our kind. The power of white magic is far too great a risk of it falling into the wrong hands. And so you would uphold tradition merely for tradition's sake, even at the risk of incurring the Great One's wrath and bringing disaster upon our forest home? Have you so little faith in your own abilities, sister? We are seed seers, more capable of slaying any beast in our way than carrying out the ritual on our own. This petty bickering is getting us nowhere. Adventurer, I am sorry to trouble you with our silly sibling squabbles. If you the time, I would speak with you further, but not here. Come to Camp Tranquil, and come quickly. Time is of the essence. Thank you for coming, adventurer. Forgive my brother's rudeness. He cannot help that he was born with a head of solid stone. Anyways, I do not believe we have been properly introduced. I am Rhea Osena, a Padul, as you can see, and sister to the Elder Seed Seer. You are Raid, yes? Brother Isumi has spoken of you, and most highly at that. As you no doubt have heard, my brother Arun and I were en route to the Guardian Tree. There, the Great One, by whose graces we dwelt here, resides. The gentlest of guardians when at peace, a destructive force that knows no bounds when angered. As the Great One goes, so goes our fate. The creatures you helped us dispatch, doubtless they, too, were roused to hostility by the Great One in his anger. You need only look around you to see. The forest grows more and more threatening with each passing hour. So it is that we traveled here to quell the Great One's fury, to perform the quieting. In days of old, the ritual was, without fail, performed by 3 white mages. With our elder sister occupied with her many duties, my brother and I thought to attempt it on our own. Our rune was quite confident, but I had my doubts. It was then that you arrived, and shortly thereafter became one of the chosen few to be gifted with a white mage's soul crystal. 'Tis no small honor. That gem marks you as an inheritor of the magic of our ancestors. My brother's pride may blind him, but the signs are clear as day to me. You are not Pagel, but an Altawa Cant meant for you to be here today, to perform the ritual with us. Altawa Cant is known to all as one of the greatest mages in our history, but even more so, he was known for being something of an eccentric. In defiance of tradition, he bid farewell to his forest home, wandering the realm and healing the wounds of the land and its people wherever so he went. A most admirable cause, yes? But alas, Altawa was never to return. He perished in a far-off land, and having taken no apprentices, his legendary powers were lost to us for eternity. Or so I believed, until I met you. And yet, for all his stubbornness, there is some truth to my brother's words. Ancient laws forbid us from sharing the teachings of white magic outside our own kind. There are reasons for this, which I would share with you when the time is right. There are many who would not approve of this arrangement. Still, I am convinced that it is Altawa's will that we bring you into the fold, and so I welcome you, Raid of the White. I can feel the Great One's fury welling up even now. Time is short, and yet, while you may have been chosen by Altawa, I fear your journey as a white mage has just begun. Return to me when you have further honed your skills, and we shall proceed with your training.
Arcane knowledge of Altawa Cant awakens within you. Only you can prevent forest ire. Rhea Osena would teach you to commune with the elementals.
Ah, Raid, looking ever more the white mage I see. And yet I fear you are as ready to perform the quieting as a chocobo chick is to carry a wood whaler clad in full plate. But take heart, for we all must begin somewhere. Today I would teach you the art of communing with the elementals. That is, by any measure, the very foundation of our art. The means which we preserve harmony between the forest and our people. Not far from Sorel Haven you shall find a tree, a mere sapling in the shadow of the guardian tree, but one that has likewise been consumed by anger and fear. I would ask you to placate this tree. The process is quite simple. Stand before the tree and raise your hands. Commune with the elementals that reside within, and attune yourself to them until your feelings are in absolute harmony. Be forewarned, however, an angry elemental can be as stubborn as my dear brother. Do not be surprised if you find your honest plea rebuffed, and foul creatures sent to drive you from the forest. No matter what happens, you must remain calm. Dispatch the creatures, settle your heart, and speak to the tree once more. If your heart is true, your voice will reach the elemental ere long. Remember this, Raid. Under no circumstances must you allow your anger and fear to overcome you. As practitioners of white magic, the magic of succor and solace, such emotions are anathema to our very existence.
Whoops. There we go. Actually, yeah, it's in... There you go. Your communion has furthered your potential as a White Mage. Okay, back to...
A short while ago, I sensed a great anger abate. The forest is quieter, more welcoming now. It would seem you have passed your first test raid. The trees are the elementals. The elementals are the trees. The lush verdure of the wood is inseparable from the spirits that dwell within it. But you do not need to hear this from me. Doubtless you felt it for yourself when you healed that tree. Above all else, the elementals prize harmony. When they sense a threat to harmony, they summon forth all the powers at their disposal to expulse it. So long have we lived in peace with the elementals. Why now do they turn against us? I can offer no answers, only theories. But one thing is certain, we must quell the Great One's fury, and do it soon, lest Gridania bear the full brunt of the forest's wrath. To soothe the forest's wounds and to restore harmony, that is our duty as mages of the White, and it is a responsibility that transcends race or nation. I sensed your success in soothing the ailing tree, and am more certain of this than ever. Sadly, many cannot see past established practice and tradition, my dear brother among them. One would hope for a bit more open-mindedness given his youth, but alas, his pride as a Pagil will not permit it. For my part, I am not entirely unsympathetic to his concerns, and yet the task before us is too great. We must bring him around to see reason. But how? Forgive me, Raid. I would be alone with my thoughts for a while. Worry not. I will find a way to deal with Alrune.
Altawakant speaks onto you, imparting newfound powers. Level 40. Oh, brother, where art thou? Rio Senna would ask a favor of you.
Raid, I owe you an apology. When last we spoke, I promised that I would find a way to convince my brother to accept you, but I fear he intently refuses to heed my words. Why, the more I try to reason with him, the more he shuts his ears to me. All pride and no common sense, that one. I can scarce believe we are kin. So intent is he to prove that you are unneeded, that he dashed out into the forest all alone, boasting that he would placate every last elemental and save the forest all by himself. Needless to say, such a task is far beyond his powers. There is a part of me that would like nothing more to see the foolish boy learn his lesson, and yet, as a sister, I fear for him. Would you go look after him, Raid? Sincere or no, he is in still many ways a child, and the forest grows ever more unsafe these days. I've thought to go myself, but if you were to save my brother from his own recklessness, perhaps he might finally see how fatuous he's been. When I last spoke to him, he announced his intentions to begin his efforts in the Bramble Patch. With any luck, you may still find him there. And please go in haste, before some ill fate befalls him.
Nope, I gotta talk to him.
If it isn't my sister's favorite adventurer. Come to show me up, have you? Well, you can march right back and tell Sister that I'm doing just fine. I'm only... resting. Even if I were hurt and unable to placate this tree, what could a run-of-the-mill adventurer like you do about it?
Wrong thing. Whoopsie doodle. What the heck? Just hit everything but the stuff. There we go.
Beginner's luck. If you think healing a sapling or two is going to convince me that you are a worthy inheritor of the teachings of Master Altoa... Rune, you're yourself to not believe those words. Sister, what are you doing here? Seeing to my pig-headed brother's safety, what do you think I'm doing? For better or for worse, it would appear you suffer only from bruises to your leg and your pride. Rune, for all your obstinacy, I know deep down you are no fool. No, you are wise beyond your years. You realize as well as I the dire fate that will befall Gridania if we do not quell the Great One's fury and restore peace to the wood. The adventurer is not Pagil, that is true. But what of it? Would you blindly trumpet to tradition as the very forest turns against us and brings ruin to our home? We have a greater calling to answer. You know this. I do, sister. Oh, my dear Arun, what are sisters for, if not to forgive their little brother's fits of folly? Now, Raid, I believe the most important task of all still awaits us. Let us return to Camp Tranquil. Raid, thank you. I knew it was only a matter of time before Arun came around to reason, and yet his hesitance to accept you was not entirely unfounded. When we first met, I promised that one day I would share with you the tale of how white magic came to be regarded as a forbidden art. Well, I suppose this is as good a day as any for the telling. The tale begins some 3 millennia ago, in the 5th astral era. It was the time of the endless frost, where a barren wasteland of snow and rime stretched as far as the eye could see. Food was scarce, and warmth scarcer. The histories hold many a grim tale of those who died in their beds, starving and benumbed. So did our ancestors discover magic, born of the most fundamental instinct, survival. In time, the winter thawed, and magic was no longer essential for survival. But once awakened to its conveniences, there was no returning to how things once were. Ere long, the people discovered all the myriad ways in which magic could be employed, and civilization flourished. But prosperity breeds contempt, and nations warred for power and riches.
So did people seek greater and greater power to rain destruction down upon their enemies. So was born black magic, the most devastating form of sorcery the world had seen. At the same time, another form of magic emerged, brought forth by those who would keep this immense destructive power in check. That is white magic. Our magic. Does this surprise you? Just as there can be no dawn without the night, the white and black are but two sides of the same coin. War raged on, and magic was used and abused with little concern for the consequences. And consequences that there were. Unchecked use of magic soon dried the flow of aether, threatening to bring blight to the land. The magic for healing? It made little difference. If used with no concern for the aether, our magic could prove as ruinous to the land as the most devastating black magic spell. And so it was that the practicing of white magic was forbidden, with one exception. The Padgel. Our kind were entrusted as sole shepherds of the now forbidden art, to serve as healers and bringers of peace while ensuring that this great power would never again be misused. Though he is still young, Arun feels this profound sense of responsibility as strongly as any of us, thus his hesitance to accept you. But having seen your abilities, and the sincerity of your intentions, you can rest assured his doubts have been dispelled. With the three of us united in place and purpose, and your skills ever growing, the day that we may perform the quieting draws near. To our fortune, the Great One has not yet been entirely consumed by fury, but our time remains short. To commune with the Great One and restore the Twelveswood to its former state of harmony, you must truly be one of heart, one of mind. It is to this end that Aitawakant has guided you to us. Further your mastery of our art, Raid, and let us mend the wounds of the wood together.
Talakant speaks unto you, imparting newfound powers. Following in his footsteps, Rhea Osena would send you on a pilgrimage.
Your command of white magic has advanced considerably, Raid. Yes, the time draws near. Let us begin our preparations for the quieting. At its roots, the ritual is no different from the acts of pacifying that you have already performed. The distant difference lies only in the difficulty of the effort. The Great One possesses a power unfathomably more immense than the elementals you have communed with thus far. Power so immense that a mage might be easily overwhelmed by the sheer force of its will. To prevent such a catastrophic fate, our tradition decrees that a special garb must be donned before performing the ritual. I have prepared for you these pieces, but I fear they will not avail you in their current state, so it is that I would send you on a journey. I trust you know the story of Aitawakant. Rare among the Padgel, he left the forest behind to travel the realm, healing the land and its people. As tribute to his wanderlust, after he passed, his ashes were divided among several urns, which were in turn carried to the far reaches of the realm. And it was there, in the distant lands, that the great mage so loved that his ashes were buried, and monuments erected in his honor. You are to go on a pilgrimage to these sites, and receive the blessings of your forebearer. Only then will the garb I've gifted you be imbued with its divine powers. Mind you, you'll find these places are not as welcoming as they might have been in Master Aitawa's time. The first site is on the shores of western La Nocia, in a place now feared as the Serpent's Tongue, home to a band of vile pirates. The next is to be found in Mordona, in that overgrown labyrinth of roots and vines so affectionately known as the Tangle. I do hope that Master Aitawa's ashes have survived those most oppressive environs. The third site I would have you visit is perhaps the most treacherous location of the lot, Raban's Push in northern Thanalon, a stone's throw from an imperial stronghold. I urge you to exercise extreme caution. The gravestone is inscribed with an epitaph paying tribute to the life and deeds of the great mage Atawakant. Oh, I gotta... There we go. Yeah, I did it! There we go.
Your safe return heartens me, Raid. I can feel newfound power emanating from the garb I gave you. I trust that this stage of your pilgrimage was a success. Now that you have traveled the realm and seen the land as Master Atawa did, I would share with you the rest of his tale. The histories claim that Atawakant disappeared in the mountains of Ogamaro, the Kobold motherland. This is not untrue, but there is more to the story. When the great mage did not return from his journey, one of his most devoted students went in search of him. As the legends have it, the young mage single-handedly fought off veritable legions of kobolds while scouring the mountains for any sign of his master. Sadly, it was as all had feared. Though the young mage eventually found his master, the great Atawakant lived no more. As if the death of the man were not enough, Thyrus, Atawakant's great staff, a mighty relic passed down by his ancestors, was lost to the shadows. Undeterred, the young mage fought off the kobold hordes to carry his master's remains back to the surface. A ceremony was held to honor Master Atawa's life and deeds, and urns housing his ashes were carried off to the far-reaching frontiers of which he was so fond in his living years. All the urns, that is, except for one. Yes, though the precise location is known to only a few, Master Atawa also rests closer to home. Here in the Twellswood, not far from Proud Creek, will you find yet another monument to the great mage. Take with you this habit, and pay your respects as before. If you keep pure intentions in your heart and your mind, then the healer's robe shall be your reward.
I actually gotta click this one. Ah. The grave has been defiled, and its contents appear to have been stolen. The power of Aotawa Kant has been lost here. Return to Camp Tranquil and seek counsel from Reo Senna. New White Mage's robe. A new habit for a White Mage, or a habit for a new White Mage.
The urn holding Master Atawa's ashes was stolen. This cannot be. Grave robbery is a damnable enough crime in itself, but what manner of scoundrel would dare defile the resting place of a Pagel? Rest assured that I will investigate this heinous crime immediately. In the meantime, your pilgrimage demands you travel to one last destination. This final leg of your journey will take you to the very place that Master Atawa drew his last breath, Ogamuro, the homeland of the kobolds in Outer Lonosia. It is there, in plain sight of the kobold dig, that the student of whom I spoke did erect a monument to his fallen master.
Gravestone is inscribed with an epitaph paying tribute to the life and deeds of the great mage Atawa Kant. Okay, I actually do pray to this one. There we go. There we go.
Welcome back, Raid. The journey was not an easy one, I trust, and yet I knew that Master Atawa would guide you safely back to me. In your travels, you have received the blessings of our great ancestor, and yet this was not the sole reason I sent you on this pilgrimage. Perhaps you sensed something of my intentions during your trip. Yes, Raid. As he who would inherit Master Atawa's legacy, I wanted you to truly walk in his footsteps. To see the realm, in both its beauty and its suffering, with your own eyes, as the great mage did so long ago. And yet it is strange, no? A pirate's lair, a rampant jungle, mountains of fire. Of all the hostile environs to which you have journeyed, the single grave despoiled was that which lies right here in our forest home. I suspect this was the handiwork of no witless grave robber, but rather someone who knew all too well the value of which was buried within. We must uncover the truth behind this crime and return Master Atawa's ashes to the rightful resting place, and quickly. You are with me, yes?
Yearn for the urn. Rhea Osena would have you recover the stolen ashes of Atawa Khan. Grave robbery is a loathsome enough crime in its own right, but to defile the final resting place of a Pagil, such an act could only be performed by the lowest of bandit scum. Though I would like to think that the elementals have already delivered due justice to the villain, we must take no chances in allowing an escape. Whilst you are away, I put my best Moogle on the hunt, searching for any sign of the culprit or the stolen remains. I dare say he should have a clue or two for us by now. At least he better, if he values that little ball on his head. Suffice it to say, though, many of Forestbone think of Moogles as blessed. My own personal experience has found them to be more touched than anything else.
Oh, mistress, you shouldn't say such hurtful things. It's most unbecoming of a seed sayer, Kupo. But fine, don't listen to me. Why, I told her just the other day that this is why she remains, shall we say, unspoken for. She might not react to that phrasing at present, but her ire was indeed fierce. Kupo. Of course, you have not come to discuss my mistress's temper, but the grave robbery, a most unforgivable act of villainy, if I do say so myself, which I believe I just did. Kupo. I am pleased to say, and you will be pleased to hear, that the culprit did not escape Moogle eyes. Kupo. Well, my eyes, he did escape. My associate Puckno Pokey, however, claims to have seen a band of ruffians skulking off in the direction of Red Belly Hive with various and sundry stolen goods in tow. Among them, a rather conspicuously elaborate urn. Kupo. I do not know what the Red Bellies are up to, but surely it could be nothing good. Please, Raid, go quickly. If the urn is lost, I fear Rhea O's ire will be the least of my worries. Kupo. These thieving crooks! Those crooked thieves! Defiling the resting place of a Pagil? Why, no amount of thrashings, slashings, and bashings would suffice. Kupopo? Why, if it isn't the dashing White Mage Kupcha Koopa spoke of, and not a moment too soon. Why, I was just about to swoop in and give them their comeuppance myself. Not that you're here, however. I believe I'll just sit back and enjoy the show. Kupo. Those vile red bellies tossed the urn onto some ramshackle wagon, a most ignoble fate for a Pagil legend, I do declare, and carted out northwise toward their hive. You'll retrieve it safe and sound, won't you, Kupo?
Atawakant's ashes, the final remains of the wandering Pajal Atawakant.
Thank you, Raid. These remains of our exalted forebear are hauled away by brigands like a sack of loot. Is that what our land has come to? There can be no doubt. It is the Great One's fury that brings such chaos to the Twelves Wood. The situation is grave indeed. I shall have our wood whalers deal with the red bellies. We have more important matters before us. And yet, I fear we have hit another snag. Though the urn has been safely recovered, the harsh treatment it suffered at the hands of the bandits has taken its toll. Uprooted from its proper resting place, the power of Atawakant once housed within has grown dim. I shall return the urn to its rightful home. Perhaps, over time, it will return to its former state. Yet I fear time is a luxury we do not have. We must explore other means to enchant the ritual garb. I will consult with my brother to see what knowledge he might have to offer. In the meantime, I would ask that you master your newfound skills as best you can. There is no telling when the Great One's fury might grow too strong to contain. We must ever be prepared.
Atawakant speaks on to you, imparting newfound powers. Heart of the Forest. Reo Osena is wearing a concerned expression.
Forgive me, Raid. Brother and I have considered every possibility and attempted every incantation at our disposal, but I fear the task of completing the enchantment has proven beyond our abilities.
No living Pajal, not even our sister, possesses such power. Without the blessing of Atawakant, there is nothing we can do.
With the ashes returned to the rightful resting place, Atawakant's spirit will return. Surely it is only a matter of time.
Look around you, sister. Open your eyes and ears. Time is one thing we do not have.
Arun?
The fear of the Great One mounts with each passing moment. It will not be contained for much longer. No, the time for waiting is long past. Now is the time for action.
But, Raid's garb, the enchanting is not yet complete.
The situation is far from ideal, yet we have no choice. We must trust in Raid's powers and do what we can.
Do I hear you right, Arun? Why, it was not long ago you objected to Raid's very presence at the ritual.
I may be stubborn, sister, but I am no fool. I have witnessed Raid's abilities with my own eyes. There can be no doubting that he is a mage of the white, one as worthy as you and I.
Arun, if you would place your trust in Raid so, I see no reason why I should not. Very well, let us hasten for Evershade. The Great One's rage is too strong. I cannot reach him. Stay focused, Elrond. If we fail, who will rise to take our place? But, sister, the forest itself turns against us. If we can only reach the Great Ones, his minions will relent. Cast away your worries and focus your mind on the ritual. No! Raid! Stand strong, Raid. Are you gonna let some overgrown shrub ruffle your feathers? And the two of you, don't you have a ritual to perform? Do my eyes deceive me? This is no time for chit-chat. Rayon, Aran, Raid, focus your energies on the Guardian Tree. You must quell the Great One's fury, dispatch its minions, and resume the quieting. The Great One's consumed by grief and anger. Our words will not reach him at this state. Fear not, my children. I will protect you. Focus your energies on the quieting. Fury of the Great One is somewhat quelled. Out of my way, foul creature! I cannot concentrate on the ritual! Oh, that was Rhea. Whoops, oh well. Fury of the Great One is further quelled. That's the spirit, my children. I feel the Great One responding. Beat it. We must quell the Great One's fury. Focus on the Guardian Tree. Oh, shit. Said beat it. Now, focus your powers on the Guardian Tree. Is it over?
Great One's anger abates. You have done well, my children.
Master Toa, do you truly live?
Live? Not as you would define the word. I happen the heart of Raid here, whose strength I borrowed to join you.
It's a miracle.
Aye, it may very well be. Or perhaps the Mother Crystal heard the old soul's wish. I lived a long and fruitful life, but when I drew my last breath at Aogomoro that day, I did so with one profound regret, that I would pass from this realm without finding a worthy inheritor to bequeath my knowledge in full. My spirit left my lifeless body to abide in the soul crystal, with the hope that one day it would find its way into the hands of my successor. For years my consciousness slumbered in the darkness, until I met Raid. From the moment you took my crystal in hand, I knew, Padgel or no, I had at long last found one to whom I could truly pass on my knowledge. Yes, Raid, I knew that, Master Otawa? The power of the crystal grows faint. It would seem my all too brief sojourn here has come to an end. Farewell, Raid of the White. Farewell, my children. I leave my forest home in your capable hands.
Master Otawa, he has left us.
And yet by his power, and that of his successor Raid, the Great One's fury is quelled, and the Twelswood is safe. Through Master Otawa travelled the world. No doubt his heart always remained here. In the forest home he loved, he waited for us.
Why, brother, for once you almost sound wise beyond your years.
Strange, is it not? Perhaps I've finally learned something from you, dear sister.
As I could learn something from you, Elron. Your pride as a Padgel, your deep respect for our past, these are traits to be admired. The same could be said for Master Otawa's liberality. Yes, I believe there is a place for both beliefs among our kind. The road was a long and winding one, but at long last our work is done. Let us return to Camp Tranquil.
You have restored harmony to the forest.
To meet Master Otawa in the flesh. Well, not flesh, perhaps. I am still shaking from the experience, and from the pure joy of seeing peace return to my forest home at last. I will be forever grateful to you, Raid. I am honored that we were able to heal the wood together. I speak not only for myself. My brother has expressed the same sentiments. Were Master Otawa here, I am sure he would say the same. Though, perhaps he is still here in some form. Behold, the final piece of your garb now pulses with his ancient power. Yes, there can be no doubt that Master Otawa has intended this as his parting gift to you. Take it, and wear it with pride, Raid of the White. Before we part, I would bestow it onto you a present of my own. By the ancient powers vested in me as a seed seer, I bestow upon you the greatest incantation known to our kind. May you ever heed the will of the elementals, and use it in wisdom and compassion. I'm not given to formalities, I swear. I do not know how my sister manages. In the short time I have known you, Raid, you have grown into a fine white mage. I am honored to call you my peer. Use your powers of moderation, and let compassion be your guide, and I have no doubt that you will bring succor and solace wherever your journey takes you.
Talcant speaks on to you, imparting newfound powers.